Symbiosis houses students from almost 85 different countries, over 2,500 international students that study with us, mainly at, of course, the undergraduate programs, but a few of them even for the postgraduate programs. And I'm happy to announce you, sir, that we have international students even in the international studies program, which really gives a great diversity to the discussions that happen in their classrooms. So it's almost like coming to a full circle, as I said, over tea, from a Symbiosis International Cultural Center to the School of International Studies. And I think these kind of discussions that are taking place since yesterday, and every year that we have this IRC, the International Relations Conference, I think just expands the minds and, inspires and excites our young students to understand what is happening at the global level. And in the audience, it's not just students of international studies, but a diverse group of students from faculties of management, media, humanities and social sciences, and several others. And I think if I were a student sitting in the audience, and even if I at that point in time did medicine, and if I were to sit in the audience and listen to such erudite speakers, I'm sure I would have enriched myself much more than what I am today. As students, you're really lucky to have a galaxy of such people. And imagine having two former foreign secretaries, Sujata ma'am here sitting, and of course, Ranjan Mathai sir sitting in the audience and addressing you, and the present foreign secretary. I'm sure you're really lucky to have such an august gathering.
Yesterday, somebody mentioned about the contribution of Chanakya. But I would like to also to mention something about what Vivekananda has to say about Indian culture. Because these things are required when we want to have new strategic culture for India. As you know, Vivekananda has made many predictions. And one interesting prediction which he made was in 1897. And he predicted that India will be free in next 50 years and freedom will appear in an unexpected manner. At that time, his prediction was regarded absurd. But when Second World War took place, certain circumstances forced Britishers to leave India, and hence India got freedom exactly after 50 years. This was a wonderful prediction by Swami Vivekananda. Well, when he was in America, he visited Michigan University, where he met some journalists. And he told those journalists, this is your century right now, but 21st century is India's century. This is a wonderful prediction made by Swami Vivekananda. And he further told them that all the barbarians and the murderers who rolled on us and looted our nation would come back to our country to pay homage to our ancient sages and saints. He was of the opinion that India, 21st century belongs to India, and he further predicted that India will be Jagat Guru of the world in 21st century.
As Dr. Majumdar said when he made his remarks, visions don't have to be new and original. And I think Indian culture has enough vision in it. It has to be relevant to the times. And I think this government has re-espoused the ancient vision of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. In fact, if you read above the auditorium, it says, Udara Charita Nam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And I think those words are very, very prophetic, because this is not globalization in the way the West means globalization. The first sentence of the shloka, Ayam Bandhur, Ayam Neti, Ganana Laguchetasam, in fact, talks of human beings, people. That we don't consider one a stranger and another a brother. For us, the world is one family. So it's not globalization in its Western concept. This is a vision, I think, which seeks to define India's role as the soon-to-be most populous country, as the world's largest democracy, as a 5,000-year-old civilization with well-developed ethics and values that have a relevance in modern times. And Dr. Majumdar referred to Swami Vivekananda, with a history of peaceful coexistence in arguably the most complex society in the world. It is a message of consensus, of coexistence, And this is especially important, I believe, when other competing visions, the alliance system that the West has, or for that matter of fact, China's new vision, the community of the shared future of mankind, of which the Belt and Road Initiative is a strategic part, I believe is neither inclusive nor equal. And therefore, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam offers an alternative for the rest of the world, and it provides us with the guiding vision. I admit its content is still in the formative stages. This is a concept. A concept gets content with inputs not just from the government, from the strategic community, from academia, from universities, from the media, from business, from members of parliament, from all segments of society. And I think that's something that the government will welcome, because it will help to build this concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam into a comprehensive vision. But we have to do this, we have to have a strategic vision, I believe, to exercise global leadership, while giving us the flexibility to preserve our interests. So the other thing we need to look at, and what the government is working to do, is a strategic direction. And that too is taking shape. One that looks at Indian interests and at Indian aspirations from the oceanic rather than from a simply landlocked perspective. Simply put, we are reorienting our understanding of the neighborhood. We will not define it anymore by the countries with which we have a land border alone. It will be defined by the common shores that are washed by our seas and oceans. And seen this way, we begin to reassert our primacy in the Indian Ocean region and see the Gulf, East Asia, East Africa, and ASEAN as our neighbors. This again is not a new concept. It is a reversion to a situation that existed until 500 years ago. But we need to relearn it, because our present outlook is still primarily driven by our neighborhood in terms of a purely territorial perspective. Looked at differently, therefore, the Indo-Pacific concept, which the Prime Minister dwelt at length upon in Singapore at the Shangri-La Dialogue, it opens a very big world for India, a new world for India, a new role for India, not only in terms of geography and politics, but in terms of development of the economy, development of connectivity, development of oceanic resources. It will hopefully reorient our military by giving primacy to the Navy. I hope I'm not offending anybody from the Army in the audience, as well as the scientific community with respect to the oceans as a resource, and to our trading community with respect to Africa and the Western Pacific as markets. Finally, vision and direction still need some bold initiatives to be taken. We have to lead. We can't follow anymore. And the first beginnings, I think, have been made with the International Solar Alliance. Now, this is an idea that was conceived less than 3 years previously. It was dismissed as unworkable, not just within the country. Even outside the country, it was dismissed as unworkable. But in a short span of 3 years, it's taken shape. 71 countries as of yesterday have signed the convention. That's almost half the members of the United Nations. And it was restricted to countries between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, and only in October it was decided to throw it open to a number of other countries. Several members of the European Union have signed on after that. It has allowed India to take a leadership role on climate change. It is arguably the only initiative that has actually taken place after the Paris Climate Change Conference. But more importantly, because I don't think visions should be just for academic interest, it has created new business opportunities for the LED and solar pump industry in India. And I think that's when foreign policy comes together, when there's a stake for everyone in it.